the mouthguard industry needed to be revised, overhauled, because mouthguards have been around for over 60 plus years with very little change to design and material. And the problem with these conventional mouthguards, Heather, is that they become loose very quickly. They lose their form. We've seen mouthguards go flying out of athletes' mouths, or perhaps the mouthguard is swimming around in their mouth, or they're chewing on them. And when they're actually chewing on a mouthguard, they're actually breaking down the structural portion of a mouthguard. And I think we can all agree, if a mouthguard doesn't fit right, it can't protect right.
Welcome to another episode of the Irreplaceable Dental Team. And as usual, I have a fabulous guest for you. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and just tell us a little something about himself. Welcome, Sig. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. First, I want to say thank you for having me on as a guest, Dr. Heather. And very excited when you mentioned that to me a few weeks ago. So I look forward to it. My name is Sigfried Settele. I am the founder and creator of Xsport Mouthguards. We are the world's first 3D printed 3-layer mouthguard. We have revolutionized the industry, and I'm very happy to be on the show. Going forward, I have a lot to explain.
All right. And aren't we fortunate to have the first in the industry? Makes us feel special. So, Sig, I'm just going to dive down and ask you, what sparked this idea for this mouthguard that you are known for, that you incorporate carbon fiber in the mouthguard? What sparked that idea?
Yes, before I go forward, I'd like to take a step back. I am in the dental industry, just like you are. 40 years of owning and operating a dental laboratory here in Ohio. My father came over from Germany, was a master technician, and I took over the lab when I was 24. And time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed.
So coming out of COVID, as many businesses were affected, our business was down, and I had some time to dig deep into my treasure chest of ideas. And I was encouraged because I have a lot of ideas and inventions that I would like to unleash. And so everybody says, pick one and roll with it. And so I did. I knew right away that the mouthguard industry needed to be revised, overhauled, because mouthguards have been around for over 60 plus years with very little change to design and material. It's still the old boil and bite concept, or perhaps a mouthguard you would get at a dental office, one of these vacuum form mouthguards. And the problem with these conventional mouthguards, Heather, is that they become loose very quickly. They lose their form. We've seen mouthguards go flying out of athletes' mouths, or perhaps the mouthguard is swimming around in their mouth, or they're chewing on them. And when they're actually chewing on a mouthguard, they're actually breaking down the structural portion of a mouthguard. And I think we can all agree, if a mouthguard doesn't fit right, it can't protect right. And so coming out of COVID, my son-in-law took a shot. He's a semi-pro hockey player. He took a shot from a puck into the mouth. And as everyone could probably imagine, the oral and facial trauma that he experienced. And I got a call, and my daughter was panicking, and she told me, what a mess he's in. And I knew right away I had the blueprint to revolutionize the mouthguard. We decided early on in my prototypes to use 3 layers, and we used stainless steel that we infused in the mouthguard. And those were our prototypes for a while. And I used, after he healed up, I used him as a human guinea pig. And I don't know how many changes that we made over and over and over again. But finally, we came up with a a prototype that I wanted to share with someone. And that someone is a very renowned prosthodontist here in Columbus, Ohio. His name is Dr. Andy Gilbert, and he's a dental specialist. But he's not just a regular dental specialist. He's also a mechanical engineer by trade.
Wow.
And he is the team dentist for the NHL team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. When he saw that, him and I threw some other ideas and we changed it again, and he became my right-hand man and investor. And he was the first one to jump in. And so that's how everything started, with the hockey puck to my son-in-law and some crazy ideas.
So how did you evolve to the carbon fiber?
Yes. So stainless steel is very strong and light. But what is the next step, I was thinking? Well, we looked at that and found out that carbon fiber is 5 times stronger and very light as a feather. And we found out that with manufacturing, we could still make it feasible to produce this revolutionized mouthguard. And that's when we switched. We switched about a good 2 years ago to carbon fiber. From then, we decided to improve our design. Our patented design allows athletes to breathe with our mouthguard. Most mouthguards are very bulky. You've seen them on TV. Many athletes, some of these mouthguards are so big, they fit around the outside of an athlete's lips, right? And there's a plastic wafer they just bite into. And most mouthguards have no testing or no scientific data behind them, Heather. Mm-hmm. They make the best pizza because they say so. And so early on, we recognized we did not want to be anywhere close to these regular conventional mouthguards. We wanted to be on our own island. How do we do that? We do that with our patented design with state-of-the-art materials, using technology, 3D printing, using carbon fiber technology, designing mouthguards that actually athletes can feel confident wearing it while they perform, but also be able to communicate. You see, most sports are team-oriented sports.
Right.
Communication is key. Well, with those mouthguards that we see in stores or on TV with athletes wearing them, there is no communication. The only communication that is possible is to take the mouthguard out, then be able to speak to coaches or other players. Right. You see that all the time. With our mouthguard, you don't have to do that. You could actually keep it in and communicate to other team members. So that is another plus. We talked about precision fitting. There is no chair side adjustment, okay? The mouthguard fits the day that you get it, and we're the only mouthguard company, Heather, that guarantees our fit for a year.
A year?
No one will do that. Why is that? Because the regular mouthguards that people are getting at stores or at pharmacies or online, within a short period of time, as I mentioned, in 4, 5, 6 weeks, those mouthguards are becoming loose. But what happens then? Sometimes you have to buy another one and then another one. And you multiply that by 12 and you're spending quite a bit of money on basically something that does absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Most of these mouthguards gives a false sense of security to the athletes. They just grab them and throw them in the mouth thinking everything is okay. We have so many athletes experiencing oral trauma, getting their teeth knocked out in lacrosse with mouthguards, losing teeth in basketball games because they catch an elbow under the basket, or football players. And beyond that, look at all the concussions that are happening.
Right.
And as I mentioned,
concerning.
Yeah, it's very concerning. And as some people may know, once you get one concussion, you're more susceptible of getting another concussion and then another one. And so that is very disturbing. And it's to the point where they're changing rules in certain games to try to make it safer. And many parents are concerned. There are some parents that won't allow their children to play certain sports. One example is football. They're choosing other alternative sports for them. Flag football. Yeah, I was going to mention flag football in the U.S. Has really caught on tremendously for male and female. But I'm going to say a lot of that is due because some parents are looking for other alternatives compared to having them participate in combat sports.
So how can your mouth guard help with injuries, not just to the mouth, but maybe preventing brain injuries?
Yes. As you know, as a dentist, the only thing that really moves in your head is your mandible, your lower jaw. Okay. Yes. And so we are looking and have had our Xsport Mouthguard tested at many major universities. Once again, we didn't have to, because most of the other mouthguard companies, they have no science, they have no data to back up any of their claims. And so to be separate on our own island, we spent a lot of resources and time at several different universities. We started at Ottawa. We've had our product tested twice already at Auburn University and also at Ohio State. These tests are conducted at the mechanical engineering departments at these universities. And how the test is conducted, Heather, is they do what's called an impact absorption test. They have a simulated anatomical jig that simulates how a mouthguard would actually fit a human's dentition, how it would fit around the mouth. Mm-hmm. And they drop different weights at different height intervals. And then that data is recorded. And everything is recorded in newtons, which is part of physics, right? And so I'll give you one example. I don't expect everybody to understand that. I didn't. I had to look. But for example, if Mike Tyson would hit someone in a boxing ring, that would be equivalent to 5,000 newtons, okay? Anything above that, if you're talking about 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 newtons or more, you're looking at probably decapitating a human. And at that point, nobody's even thinking about protecting their teeth or their brain once you're decapitated. But on a more serious note, we have tested our product and found out that we are upwards to 5 times stronger, backed by science. And that is a significant difference on anything. And so we have the testing and the data to back that up.
That is amazing, because in the dental world, everybody wants to know that you have the tested data to back you up.
Yes. And we're actually
sure that any parent listening is feeling, where can I get this? Because everybody wants to protect their kids' teeth, head, and specifically the brain from injuries. And a mouth guard that fits custom the way yours does is guaranteed not to move. And you're saying that it can last up to a year before it has to be replaced.
Yes.
And once it's put in, there's no need for adjustment. These are fantastic facts.
Yeah. There's no chairside adjustment, and this is not a boil and bite mouth guard. Most of the mouth guards right now are still the old, as I mentioned, still the old boil and bite mouth guard. This is not. When you receive the mouth guard, and we'll talk about the different ways that the consumer can purchase the mouth guard, is that once you receive the mouth guard, all you have to do is just rinse it off in warm water initially, one time, and that's it. It'll snap in, and it is a day and night difference. We have many MMA fighters, UFC fighters, professional athletes, college and high school athletes, and all levels wearing our mouth guards coast to coast. And the first thing they mention is how tight it fits. And on our Instagram page, we even have an amateur football player who plays for the Columbus Fire saying that it gives him confidence to give a hit and dish out a hit, knowing that his mouth guard will stay in place. And we've heard that expressed by many athletes. Some of the MMA fighters have told me that is one less item that they have to worry about when they're in the cage getting ready to fight. We know MMA fighting, UFC fighting is a very brutal sport, and the risk of injury is very high. We know that. And if you look at their equipment, what do they have? They have gloves, right? And they have their mouth guard, and that's it. And so we have many MMA and UFC fighters wearing it, and they've told us that not only can they breathe, right, while they fight, which is huge because we talk about oxygen intake. Our mouth guard is designed, Heather, to take as little space as possible in your mouth, in the oral cavity. That allows more oxygen intake. And the significance of that is that the more oxygen intake, it can improve your performance and your endurance.
Exactly.
And we call that, we at Xsport call that a game changer, or as I call it, it's the X factor.
I love that. The X factor. So I have $1 million question for you, Sig.
Yes.
There are a lot of young people in that age group who may be wearing braces.
Yes.
Your mouth guard fits so snugly. Will it be able to be worn by someone who is actively wearing braces?
That's a very good question. We came up with a new version that we call the Ortho Guard. In the Ortho Guard, we have to work hand in hand with an orthodontist, okay? And we are the only ones that can actually fabricate and manufacture a mouth guard that fits over any configuration of braces.
Stop right there.
Yes.
Say it again.
I'll say it. I know this is like the ninth wonder of the world.
I'm telling you.
Right now, dentists and orthodontists know there is nothing that can fit over braces. And the garbage that's out there fits like, I say this as a joke, anything that claims to fit over braces will fit like socks on a rooster, okay? And anybody who has tried that know exactly what I mean. It's completely ill-fitting and completely useless. Little Johnny and little Susie will experience, unfortunately, all trauma with anybody who says they claim to fit over braces. We have the Ortho Guard that came out a year ago, and it does three things, Heather. It does three things. First of all, it protects little Johnny and Susie from accidents, which will occur when you have braces. That's part of the name. That's the name of the game, right? You're going to have some accidents in sports, so it protects them from all trauma. And we talk about who pays for braces. Most of the time, it's mom and dad, right? Yep. So, and I know exactly braces are very expensive: $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, maybe even more for one child. And so the Ortho Guard not only protects little Johnny and Susie from all trauma, it also protects mom and dad's interest, okay? Because they paid for the mouth guard. And the third thing it does is we've created a new revenue stream for the orthodontist and for the dentist, because beforehand they would have nothing to offer the patients for braces. But now we've created a very cheap insurance that the dentist and orthodontist can actually have the ability, to have a new line of revenue. And I can talk about that perhaps on another time. But right now, we're the only ones that can really say that. And how do we do it? Is always a good question. We need to work hand in hand with the orthodontist or the dentist. So for instance, if the bicuspids and the molar in the next 6 to 8, 9 weeks will be shifting 0.5 millimeters, right, to the buccal side, to one side, all right, to the outside, we will build that area in for those teeth to move. okay? So the patient, the young athlete, could wear it for a longer extent of the time, right? Obviously, after that, we will have to change the inside portion of the mouth guard. So we have 3 layers. So the third layer can be changed as the athlete's dentition changes, almost kind of like an Invisalign, where they would have to change multiple and get multiple liners, right? As the shift and change, same concept. But we would have to work with the dentist and the orthodontist on that. But to answer your question, yes, we've created a mouth guard called the OrthoGuard to fit over any configuration of braces, arch wire, brackets.
That is awesome. So your product, you work in conjunction with the dentist. The patient will go into the dental office. The teeth will be scanned, and that information sent to your lab. You will fabricate it specifically, return it to the dental office, and the patient goes in and gets their mouth guard. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's several ways. Our number one choice would be that the consumer would go to their dental provider. Okay, that would be our our first choice. That they go in, get scanned. I know not everybody's scanning, and that's okay. They could do a conventional impression, and we only need the upper arch for the scan or a conventional impression. The scan is then sent to our facility in Atlanta, Georgia, right? Made in the USA, and then that's where it's fabricated and then sent back to the dental office. Once again, there is no chair time adjustment, 0. For this, and or if they take
do you see my face? That smile?
Yes.
The fact that there's no chair side adjustments, each of my colleagues is going to have this smile. One less thing to stress about.
Yes, it is something that we definitely have created. We've created something that it becomes a win-win situation for everybody, right? And in some cases, if you don't have a scanner, no big deal. You would take a conventional upper impression. You don't even have to pour it, and you stick it in a little bag and send it to our facility. What we do then is scan the impression and create a 3D model, and then fabricate the appliance on that model. Everything is sent back. And I always tell everybody, it's a precision fit. It's not going to fit 90% or 95%. It's going to fit 100%. If there's any discrepancy, just like any, and I own a dental laboratory, and I see many impressions, some good and some bad, and you understand that. There's things that can be done to enhance the impression with our software. But if it's to the point, even with that, then we contact the dental office. They would have to rescan or take another impression. But if there's some minor discrepancies, right, the software system will improve anything that needs to be improved to a certain extent.
So does it matter if it's alginate or polyvine?
Well, alginate, if you take it, excuse me, if you take it with alginate, you would have to definitely pour the model immediately. But if you take with a polyvinyl, Impergum, whatever you have, like I said, you don't even have to pour it up. You can send it to us, and we would then scan the impression and to create our 3D model and fabricate everything at that point. So
that's the preferred way. That suggests that there's another way.
Yes. The other way would be we have self-impression kits, right, using lab putty. And it's very common. Many other mouthguard companies are doing the same thing. You would go online, you would pick a color, an impression kit will be sent to their home. They would take their own impression and then send it in. And then we would scan that impression and go from there. Obviously, there's a big difference. That's why we are pushing and driving the consumer to the dentist first and getting it done with a scan because that would probably be the most accurate. but it can be done the other way as well. That would be another choice, another option for the consumer, just like cars, whether you're buying a Mercedes or a BMW, they have different series. But all the mouth guards, all are carbon fiber infused. So either way, you would be able to still get a premium mouth guard.
I prefer the first option.
That's why we are driving everybody that way. I
have an international audience. Does it matter where in the world my audience is listening
I would have to say that we have our products. We have a fighter and a couple other patients in Quebec wearing our product, and we also have Kenyon Ortiz. Kenyon Ortiz is a Mexican motocross racer. He's on our Instagram page talking about the mouth guard and how he feels very confident wearing it. And those are the two countries right now that I can say that we can definitely distribute that. But I also know that we can go into where you are in Jamaica and other island countries as well. I think whether it's FedEx or UPS, I don't think that will be an issue.
Or sending a scan.
Yeah, sending a scan. Yes.
That makes it doable no matter where you are in the world. So I'm going to ask you, if people wanted to seek you out to get more information, to say, hey, Sig, I'm rubbing my hands together, my dental office would like to connect with you, how would they best connect with you?
Well, you can go straight to our website, which is Xsport Guards, that's all one word, .com. And they will be able to see the different variations of mouth guards, a history, our mission, and they would also be able to contact us.
Yes.
We are very eager to answer any questions for anybody, and they would also see the team that we have. We have a very strong all-star team comprised of dental specialists, physicians, neurologists, and so I've been very fortunate, especially in 2024. Things have really changed for the better, and I'm very blessed in that sense of people seeing the vision. And our number one priority, Heather, is the athlete's safety. And I also mentioned this as well, is that Xsport loves to work with nonprofit organizations and donors.
Okay.
Because together we know we can make a difference. We can create a winning formula. Because we believe at Xsport, all athletes need protection, regardless of their demographics. And we can make a difference starting today and into tomorrow.
So I didn't ask you in advance, but do you happen to have an image of what the mouth guard looks like so that our viewers on YouTube can see?
Yes, are you able to see this, Heather?
Very clearly. Hold it up a little higher.
Yes, this is our clear version. Okay. We have purple as well. Okay, and other colors that you'll see online. And to break it down, is that the black that you see is inside the middle of the mouth guard. Okay, and that black is our carbon fiber framework. Very light as a feather, but yet very strong. And so the mouth guard has 3 layers, okay? And it's comparable to a car. So the outside portion that you see is like a bumper on a car.
Okay.
It takes the impact, the force, and the energy, and distributes it to our second layer of defense. So as I mentioned, it'd be like a bumper on a car. The second layer of defense is our carbon fiber.
Okay.
That is our protective shield. That would be comparable to perhaps a chassis in a car. The third layer is a clear printed ortho material, right? And it's all fused together as one unit. okay? And that fits precision over anybody's dentition, over any teeth. It's not going anywhere. You are not playing with this. This is not swimming around in your mouth. You don't have to use your lower teeth to keep it in place.
Right. Or your tongue. You'd be surprised to know.
And it's actually fabricated to give you a lot of tongue space, which enables you, as I mentioned before, to communicate
and to breathe more readily.
Yes, we're looking to really make a difference in soccer. And I'm using soccer for several reasons. As we know, not only is soccer very popular, it's the #1 sport in the world. And also, it has a very high rate of concussions, okay?
Yes.
And injuries. Most soccer players do not wear any mouth guard, okay? And I can explain to you why. They hate them, and I understand that. Most mouth guards are too bulky. You can't breathe. You cannot communicate. The average soccer player runs 5 miles a game.
Yes.
Last thing that they need is something that will restrict their oxygen intake.
Right.
That's the last thing any athlete should need. And I see it all the time. Athletes, in general, they all hate wearing mouth guards. I get it. I totally understand that. You see them chewing on them, or they're hanging off their helmet, right? But what happens if they would know that Xsport Mouthguards is a precision fit? They could leave it in, be able to communicate, in being able to breathe. And we talked about
like a win-win situation.
A win-win situation. And so we are a game changer, Heather. We are looking to excel their game in our
product called
Xsport Mouthguards.
That's right. And it starts with a
X, the letter X. And I always encourage everyone, anybody can say they make the best pizza in the world, but if you can back it up with science and data and listen to many of their athletes that we have wearing our product, listen to what they talk about in different ways. So we're very blessed. We're very blessed that we have the opportunity, and we're not stopping with just these mouth guards. As mentioned, you and I have talked in passing before, and we've talked about many other mouth guards that we're working on currently that will be rolling out and to the consumer. So that's very exciting. Kind of like the iPhone 1. If you remember the iPhone 1, everybody got very excited. It caused a frenzy. Well, they already had the iPhone 2 ready to give the rest of the world, So we have many products waiting to be unleashed.
So you know what that means, Sig? I have to bring you back for another episode for part 2.
Count me in. I appreciate that. We just signed with Tiki Barber, a major NFL player that used to play. He's part of the NFL, and in his team, we are very fortunate to be able to connect with Tiki Barber and to make an impact. And you'll be seeing a lot of our product in the media, commercials, and in social media as well going forward.
So I can say, my folks, maybe not the first, but among the first to hear about this revolutionary mouth guard. I want to have some fun with you before you go. Are you ready?
Yeah, shoot me a question.
I have some rapid fire questions for you. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
My favorite food would probably be a good steak, a good filet, a 10-ounce filet.
Okay. What's on your bucket list? What's this place that you just need to get to before you say goodbye?
Probably go back to Europe. I found my special place in Lake Como, Italy.
Okay. So, what is your favorite movie, Sig?
My favorite movie is actually a very silly movie. with English actor by the name of Rowan Atkins. Everybody knows him as Mr. Bean. He did a movie called Rat Race with John Cleese a few years back with Whoopi Goldberg and a few other actors. It was a funny movie, and it's one of those movies you always would like to see again.
Mr. Bean used to come on late at night here in Jamaica, so we would go to bed laughing.
Which is very, very healthy, right?
Very, very healthy. So, Mr. Fun Facts, you tell me one thing about yourself that we would just never guess, never imagine.
Well, I'm into magic, I'm into illusions, and the creativity inside of me actually helped me with the blueprints of some of these revolutionized mouth guards. And so I've worked with some illusions with David Blaine. He's a very famous magician. I've worked with him, and that all stems from that my father came from Germany, and my father is a cousin to, we all know Siegfried and Roy, the famous magicians. And so my real name is Siegfried. I'm named after him. And my birthday, which is really strange, I guess, is October 3rd. That is the same birthday as Roy Horn. So growing up, I've heard many stories about them and how they got into the magic world and how they built their careers. And my parents, for some reason, then decided to name me after Siegfried, my father's cousin.
Well, that means I need to make sure I get your autograph. It's the first time I've met a person who is 2 in 1. You carry the name Siegfried, yes, and you carry the birthday of Roy. Oh my goodness, yes. Who could have planned that?
I don't know how that happened, but I guess my sense of creativity led me to then work with David Blaine on 3 occasions. So, but I have many other illusions that I would like to work with, perhaps with other illusionists, and I'm waiting to get an agent, Heather, and yes, to find me that next prominent magician in the world.
Well, the one thing that we are going to do is keep our fingers crossed for you. And hopefully when you get rich and switch, you won't forget us down here.
No, I always believe that we always have to give back. And that's why I mentioned that it's important to give back. Because at Xsport we talked about we want to give back and work with inner city schools, underprivileged athletes, and working with nonprofit organizations, because we believe we can make a difference for today and tomorrow.
So it has been such a pleasure connecting with you, and my audience has been their level of knowledge has increased tremendously in these past few minutes. We've learned about a mouth guard that is so customized to each person that once they have scanned it, sent it, and your lab has sent it back, there's no need for any kind of adjustment. It is a precision fit. We've learned that because it fits so well, it surpasses any of the other mouth guards out there, because a good fitting mouth guard is a very protective mouth guard, not just for your mouth, but for your brain as well. And we have learned also that a mouth guard that is custom with carbon fiber is so strong that it can last up to a year before you need to replace it. What a relief that is to parents to hear today. I'm so grateful to have had you as a guest. And as you said, you will come back. I did hear you promise that before.
Yeah, I love to come back as soon as possible. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, we're going to hold you to that.
Yes. Maybe we can do it next time. We can do it down in Jamaica.
I knew you were going there, Sig. We'll set up the cameras by the beach.
Oh, yes. You don't have to twist my arm. I'm already there.
We'll have the ocean breeze. We'll have the sand and the sea. You think we'll remember what we're supposed to be talking about? I'm not so sure.
I'm not sure.
Well, let's make that a date for the next time around.
Yes. I
All right.
love it.
Wasn't that awesome? Look, we now can prepare mouth guards that fit, a custom fit, that will not shake around, that will not come loose, that will allow our athletes to wear them and concentrate on the game, not what's going on in their mouth. And that will keep us from having to do all these anterior restorations. I tell you, every time I see a child coming through with bleeding lips that are swollen, I'm holding my breath and hoping that we have some teeth there that we have saved. And sometimes, as you know, even after you've restored the teeth, later on down the line, they may still need additional dental work. So let's be proactive. Let us suggest that our children, our young people wear mouth guards whenever they're participating in sports that can lead to trauma in the mouth. Listen, life is better when we live, learn, and grow together. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time.